In a job in which public speaking is an occupational hazard, there are two categories I try my best to evade: eulogies and commencements. The thoughts of the audience are likely to be elsewhere, and the chances of saying anything remotely original or memorable are, well, remote. But now and then an invitation proves irresistible, and for me, Butler's was one of those. I have long felt as strongly about this school as a non-alumnus can, for many reasons. I had so many good friends who went here. The first love of my life went here. And then there's Butler basketball. Well, yeah. As a 10-year-old new to Indiana, Butler basketball was about the only entertainment my family was able, or at least willing, to purchase for me. On countless frigid evenings, someone's dad would drop us off in the Fieldhouse parking lot, and someone else's dad would pick us up after watching the Bulldogs either beat or scare the pants off some bigger-name school. I might stumble over my college fight song, but I still know yours by heart. And I'm still an avid Butler fan. I love the style of play, the homegrown teams, and of course, the incomparable venue that is Hinkle. But most of all, I love the soul of Butler basketball, the ethos, the philosophy espoused by Coach Hinkle so long ago, but still alive. It comprises simple and timeless principles: humility, unity, thankfulness. There's not a word about athletics in it. We can bet if Tony Hinkle had been the dean of business or the chair of the pharmacy department, he'd have laid down the same guidelines. Rightly, you call it the Butler way. If you're like I was, and most college graduates I've known, you will soon look back and say, wow, I got out of there just in time. It's a very human tendency to conclude that one's high school or college went straight to hell right after they left. It's typical to recall these years with increasing fondness and nostalgia, to think of them as special, and to imagine your class as the greatest the school has seen. Well, on the record so far, you are. Your entering SAT scores and the difficulty of many of the courses you've just taken surpass any in Butler history. But the record of your class has only a first chapter. What counts is what you'll do with your education and your lives, starting, that is, commencing, tomorrow. Years from now, when you are addressing commencements or attending them as parents, people will review that collective record and pronounce you either a good, an ordinary, or who knows, maybe a great class. Of course, what really matters is what you do or don't achieve individually, but prepare to be lumped together in various ways and assessed as a group. Among the grossest and most arbitrary of such lumpings is the idea of a generation, a generalization at war with the obvious reality that any age cohort is widely diverse, containing heroes and villains, angels and devils, geniuses and fools. The parents here today are wonderful people who have loved you, sacrificed for you, taught you well. Neither you nor they would be here if that were not so. But many of their peers made very different choices. Even though the whole notion of a generation must be discounted as the loosest of concepts, within limits, it is possible to spot the defining characteristics of an age and the human beings who create it. Along with most of your faculty and parents, I belong to the most discussed, debated, and analyzed generation of all time, the so-called baby boomers. By the accepted definition, the youngest of us is now 45. So the record's pretty much on the books, and the time for verdicts can begin. Which leads me to congratulate you in advance. As a generation, you are off to an excellent start. You have taken the first savvy step on the road to distinction, which is to follow a weak act. I wish I could claim otherwise, but we baby boomers are likely to be remembered by history for our numbers and little else, at least little else that is admirable. We boomers were the children the Second World War was fought for. Parents who had endured both war and the Great Depression devoted themselves sacrificially to ensuring us a better life than they had. We were pampered in ways no children in human history would recognize. With minor exceptions, we have lived in blissfully fortunate times. The numbers of us who perished in plagues, in famines, or in combat were tiny in comparison to previous generations of Americans, to say nothing of humanity elsewhere. All our lives, it's been about us, all about us. We were the me generation. We wore T-shirts that said, "If it feels good, do it." The year of my high school commencement, a hit song featured the immortal lyric, "Sha-la, la, 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 live for today." As a group, we have been self-centered, self-absorbed, self-indulgent, and all too often just plain selfish. Our current baby boomer president has written 2 eloquent, erudite books, both about himself. As a generation, we did tend to live for today. We have spent more and saved less than any previous Americans. Year after year, regardless which political party we picked to lead the country, we ran up deficits that have multiplied the debt you and your children will be paying off your entire working lives. Far more burdensome to you mathematically, we voted ourselves increasing levels of Social Security pensions and Medicare health care benefits, but never summoned the political maturity to put those programs on anything resembling a sound actuarial footing. In sum, our parents scrimped and saved to provide us a better living standard than theirs. We borrowed and splurged and will leave you a staggering pile of bills to pay. It's been a blast. Good luck cleaning up after us.